Good morning children. Today we are going to start the first lesson of your 9th class history, and the name of the lesson is the French Revolution. First let us try to see why we are going to read about French Revolution. Before that, let me tell you, in your 9th standard and 10th standard history book, you will read about world history and how this world events affected India or Indian history. So let us start French Revolution. Can you tell me what kind of political system we have in India? Yes, we have democracy. And the one very important thing associated with democracy is we have freedom. We have freedom to express ourselves. We have freedom to move. And we are all equality. You have already read in 8th standard civics book that our fundamental right guarantees us equality. That means we are all equal, whether we are rich, poor, villager or town liver or white or black, whatever may be our differences, but we are treated equally by the country, by the state. Can you think that there was a time when rich and poor were expected to behave in different way, eat different food and wear different types of clothes? They were expected. Similarly, women were not given the opportunity to study, to work. They were not treated as an adult, a responsible citizen. They were treated as minor. There was such a time when we didn't have the right to equality. That is why here in French Revolution we will read it is the French Revolution. That time people revolted and demanded equality. So let us try to know what happened that time in France. In your book, in the first page of the lesson, there is one event. One event is described, and that event is storming of Bastille. Bastille is a prison. Bastille was a prison in France. It was a fortress prison. Fort and also a prison. So first event that is described in your book is storming of Bastille. That means people attacked the prison. Why they attacked? What was their intention? Let's try to know. It happened in 14th July 1789. That time the king commanded troops to move into the city. The king had given an order to the troops to enter the city. And people heard a rumor that the king is going to command for an open fire. Naturally, when the people heard like that, the troops are going to open fire on them, so they will be cautious and they will try to protect themselves. So people decided to form militia. They tried to form a military group among themselves, of the people's militia. Now why this happened? Why the king commanded and why people started forming the militia? That we will read later. The entire incident, the background, we will read later. You just try what happened in, just first see what happened in Bastille. So people formed their militia. After that, people started gathering ammunition so that they can face the armed soldiers. After that, the people stormed fortress prison that was in Bastille. It was a fort and a prison. People expected that they will gather lot of arms from there, and they killed the commander. But do you know how many prisoners were there? There were only 7 prisoners. Only 7 prisoners. But still, it was a milestone achievement for people. It was a milestone achievement for the people. Do you know why? Because the prison was a symbol. It was not only a simple prison. It was a symbol of the despotic power of the king. What is despotic power? Despotic power is the tyrannical. The king was, whatever he commanded, what was the wish of the king, that was the command and that happened. So it represented the power of the king. That is why for people, it was a great achievement. And this storming of Bastille then again led to one event, then another event, then a historical change took place in the political system of France. Now let us go to the background. Why this event happened in France? For that, we have to go to 1774 when Louis XVI became the Emperor of France. Louis XVI became the Emperor of France. He belonged to Bourbon family. And when he became the Emperor, he found that the treasury of the king's court, king's whole monetary power, that was empty. The treasury was almost empty. First, let us try to know what were the reasons behind this empty treasury. First one is long years of war. Long years of war. As you know, war is such a thing there the kings had to incur a lot of expenses, but the production activity reduces. All the able-bodied persons of the kingdom, they go to the war field, they fight there, people die, and money is spent on making arms and ammunition, and they were fed, they got training, for all this they had to spend money. So long years of war had a toll on the treasury. That is why treasury was empty. Now for your knowledge, let me just tell you, long years of war with whom? The long years of war with Britain. Why Britain? Because Britain and France has been traditionally enemies. They had always been a competition between them to gather more and more power in Europe. So France and Britain, they have been continuously in war. There was continuously war for 7 years also. So these long years of war had resulted in less money in the treasury. Now second is maintaining Versailles. Maintaining Versailles. Versailles is the king's palace. To maintain the Versailles, the king had to spend lot of money because it was a huge palace with all luxurious things to had a lavish lifestyle. So the maintaining the Versailles was also demanded huge amount of money. Next is 13 colonies of America. What happened with the 13 colonies of America? These colonies of America, they were British colonies and they wanted freedom from Britishers. So they were fighting against the Britishers. Now who will help them against the Britishers? It was the French king. The France country and the king helped the American people to get freedom. And for that also again they had to incur expenditure. So these are the three causes: long years of war, maintaining Versailles, and 13 colonies of America to get freedom. These were the reasons. Now let us see what are the other reasons for empty treasury. Next one is the king was making heavy expenditure. But where was he getting so much money? From which source? The only source was the taxation. But if taxation was not sufficient, the king used to borrow it from rich people. And when he borrowed more and more money, the borrowing amount was so high that the interest payment was causing a very heavy load on the treasury. Because the interest rate was 10% and the debt was more than 2 billion livres. The debt was more than 2 billion livres. That was the debt. And livre was the currency of France that time. It was France currency that time. Now, 10% interest rate, it has to be paid. So, lot of money was being spent. Next, what is the next point of empty treasury? Is payment of interest, maintenance of army, because war has been a continuous event. So, they had to maintain an army, and to maintain army, they have to spend money. And again, maintaining the court, maintaining the offices of the king. So, all these reasons, all these works demanded expenditure. So, these were the reasons, and it has been going on for long years. One more thing, taxes. Taxes was being paid by the people, and people were overburdened with taxes. And that is a major cause of the beginning of French Revolution. And why the people were so much under pressure while giving tax, that we'll come to know in our next chapter. So these are the two things first you do. Starving of Bastille, prepare a short note on this, and why the treasury was empty. Prepare these 5 points you write down, and I will prepare an answer. Now let us go to the next topic. Okay, next topic is French society. So you learned that the king had to borrow money to pay for the expenditure, and the king's source of income was the taxes. But taxes, who were paying, that we will come to know from this subtopic. Here, French society, it was the pattern of society in the old regime. Old regime means before 1789. 1789, the revolution started. So before that, what was the structure of the society? What kind of political system was there? That is called old regime. So in old regime, the society was divided into 3 estates. First estate, second estate, and third estate. First estate comprised the clergy, second estate comprised of the nobility, and third estate comprised of the common people. These common people included both educated and uneducated people. Businessmen, lawyers, peasants, they were educated and uneducated. Both the category was there in this group. Now, but this social structure, it was ridden with inequality. There was some unequal division of the structure. Now let us see what was the presence of, what kind of inequality that time was there in the society. Here we saw that time what happened, the first and the second estate. First and the second estate means the clergy who were associated with the church, and nobility who were associated with the king and the court. They are the first and second estate. These first and second estate were exempted from tax. They were not giving any tax to state. They were not giving any tax to the state. Now, or another thing was there. They were not giving any tax, but the first and the second estate, they enjoyed privileges. Privileges means advantages. They were getting some advantages. Now, what was that advantage? That advantage was that the peasants of the third estate, from third estate, the people belong to third estate, the poorer ones, they were the peasants. They were obliged to serve the first and second estate. It was the right, birthright of the first and second estate to demand that the peasants will serve them. Okay, so that was their privilege. And these peasants, they were very poor, but they constituted 90% of the population, and they had to live a very harsh life. You see, they didn't have any property. They have to serve these people free, because it was their duty to serve these people. And again, they were working in the fields of these people. So they were very poor. They led a very harsh life. So we saw these first and second estate, they got 2 advantages. One is no paying of tax, second getting of privileges. And these third estate people, they had double disadvantage. They were paying taxes and no advantage. Now let us come and see what were the different types of taxes prevalent that time. Three types of taxes were there. One is tithe, that was given to the church, the tax given to the church, tithe, and teli was the tax given to the state, tax given to the state. In addition to that, there were many indirect taxes also. And who was paying these taxes? It was paid by only the third estate people. Okay. Now, so they led a harsh life and they were the majority of the people of the society. So naturally there was discontentment. They were not satisfied with the social system. In addition to that, something else was happening in the society. What was happening in the society? There was a subsistence crisis. There was a subsistence crisis. Now, what is this subsistence crisis? I think you know the meaning of subsistence. Subsistence means the minimum thing that is required for survival of a person. I am not telling you a better living. I am just telling that for the survival, whatever things we need to survive, that is subsistence. And that time there was a crisis of subsistence. Minimum required things were not available to people. And what minimum thing people need? People need food to survive. So let us see what happened that time. There was a rapid growth in population that time. This led to increase in food demand. More population, more demand of food. But production of food items, food grains was not rising that much. Growth was not taking place much in that field. So next, what was the consequence? So bread price rose. Bread is the staple food of French people. So bread price rose, but the wages were fixed. Whatever wages they were getting, that is fixed. Today I am getting 10 rupees. One bread is 10 rupees, then I will buy one bread. But today I am getting 10 rupees, but bread is 20 rupees. I cannot buy. So same thing happened. Wage was fixed, but price was more. So they were not able to buy food, sufficient food. So there was a gap, the gap between the rich and poor, it was widening day by day. The rich were getting richer and richer, poor were getting poorer and poorer. So in addition to all these things, to make the situation worse, sometimes there is a situation of drought and sometimes there is a situation of hailstorm. And both these conditions led to bad harvest. That means production of food grains was less. So you saw population rising, production of food grains less, so prices was rising, people were not getting sufficient food. That is why it resulted in subsistence crisis. So we saw two things with which people were dissatisfied. First, king's treasury was empty, he didn't have money. So naturally, from where the king will try to get the money? He will try to get the money from taxes. And who will pay the tax? Third estate, the poorer people. So there was discontentment. Second, food grains were not sufficient. Subsistence crisis were there. So these were the two problems that was existing before the beginning of the revolution. Now let us go to the next topic. What helped in revolution? Next topic is?
Yes.
The next topic is the role of middle class and philosophers. In the role of middle class and philosophers' role in the French Revolution. So you learned that French society was not a equally distributed society, both economic point of view, social point of view. There was a wide gap between the rich and the poor, and the advantages that the rich were getting and the facilities that the rich were getting and the facilities that poor were getting. Now let us see, that time tax the king was raising from time to time. King was raising the tax rate from time to time because he was spending money and you already know where he was spending the money, and the tax was being paid by the third estate. Now there was a revolt against the tax increase. People used to revolt against tax increase and also scarcity of food. You read in subsistence crisis that there was a scarcity of food grains. So these were the major problem of the peoples because they was related to basic living. So naturally, when there is a continuous problem for a long period of time, people will revolt. But that was in small patches and which was easily suppressed by the first and second estate. But a period came in 1789, there was a growing middle class and philosophers. Why the middle class was getting powerful? Because of the overseas trade. Here, people middle class earned money and wealth from the overseas trade and doing other businesses. They earned money, and with that higher level of living, they educated themselves and they had knowledge. Now, so you know, problem has been existing. Now middle class have entered the stage. They are educated, they have money. Previously what happened? People were not satisfied. They were revolting, but they didn't know how to go for a revolt in a large scale. Countrywide revolt, they didn't know because there was lack of means and method. There was lack of means and method. Means means how to revolt, how to oppose the king. They were very powerful. And means means they wanted money. Because when you are going to fight something, you have to gather money, people. There are other expenditures. Means expenditure. From where they will get the money to stand against the king. Then the method. In what way shall they fight? What path they will follow? They didn't know. Now the situation is becoming little conducive for them. Why? Because this middle class, they have earned money and they are educated. They have the knowledge. They can plan how to stand against the rich and traditionally established people. So these people now said, no privilege by birth. You have already read French society, the clergy and the nobility. They were not paying taxes. They were taking all the privileges because by birth they were nobility and clergy. Remember this. That was by birth, not by merit. Merit means the king has very good qualities and he became the king. People naturally accept. But king doesn't have good quality. Because he is the son of the king, he has become king. So people may not be satisfied with him. So that is privilege by birth. So this was people now saying, no, we are not going to give privilege because you have taken birth in a family. Now, to this idea, philosophers now gave them the method, how to start the revolution. Among the philosophers, 3 names are very prominent. It's given in your book. You can see there. One is John Locke, another is Rousseau, another's name is Montesquieu. Okay? Now John Locke, he wrote a book. The name of the book is The Two Treatises of Government. The Two Treatises of the Government. In his book, he told that there should be no divine right. No divine right. Refused divine right. Because that time the people's belief was there, if somebody is king, then he has been appointed king by the God. God has made him king. So people were treating him next to God. As we worship God, they used to worship. They have that kind of feeling that he is a divine person. But Locke told that there is no divine right of the king. If he has merit, we are going to give him all the rights. Rousseau, another philosopher, he wrote a book, The Social Contract. In Social Contract, he told that, he gave another idea to people. If people and the king or the leader, what is the relationship between them? It is not king and subject. It is people and his representative. We are working, we are producing, we are paying tax, But we have appointed a person as the leader. So he is our representative. He will work for us. This theory was given by Rousseau. We are the people and he is our representative. So he should work for our welfare. The king should work for the welfare of the people. Next, Montesquieu, he wrote a book. The name of the book is The Spirit of Law. The Spirit of Law. Spelling here is wrong. Spirit. The Spirit of Law. In Spirit of Law, he told that power should not be concentrated in one hand. That time you know that there was absolute power with the monarch. The king had all the power. Whatever he says, that is the rule. All the power was concentrated in one person's hand. Montesquieu told that power should not be concentrated in one hand. They should be divided. One is legislative, another is executive, another is judiciary. So power should be distributed into three different parts according to the word. You have already read, everywhere in the world we are following this system now. Power is distributed, every state, every country has distributed power into legislators, then executives and judiciary. You have read this in 8th standard, how power is distributed. In detail you have read. So this was actually suggested by Montesquieu during that time. Now you saw three things we learned here. Up to this we have learned three things. The king had an empty treasury, he wanted more tax. People were not satisfied. There was subsistence crisis. People were not getting sufficient food. They wanted to revolt against the king. They were not capable. Now, middle class entered into the scene. Middle class has money and they have knowledge. That means they will give the way how to fight against the king. So these are three causes that are going to bring revolution to take place. Next, we will take up next class. So, before that, what you do? Till now, whatever we have read, I told you to write one question answers on storming of Bastille. Then second, why the treasury was empty. Then third question, you write a short note on subsistence crisis. Fourth question is, what was the structure of French society? What was the structure of French society in the old regime? Prepare a 5 marks question. That is 3 state and the taxes and the privileges, everything you write. That is the structure of society. The next question you take up, role of middle class and philosopher. And go through the lesson detailed. Whatever it is, go through it, read it sincerely. That's all. We'll take up next in the next class.